and welcome back to the Prez Box podcast. We've got me with Coach Hartsell, and Coach, I'm gonna have to ask that you accept that I'm gonna just talk a little bit here, but
Sure.
The game last Friday was not good for anybody. Nobody liked it. Let's just be honest. And I love this team. I'd love nothing more for us to win every game by 40 points and win the state title by 30. I would love nothing more than that. But to get there, we've got to call it like we see it. And this is all how I see it. I'm not getting mad at anybody in particular. I'm just saying that we need to wake up with this. So don't take this as me hating on the team just for the sake of hating. This is so that we can hopefully learn. We cannot be affording to overlook teams like we did against Cutter again. We cannot. When we overlooked against Two Rivers and thought, oh, we're just going to walk in there and win, they dropped 29 points on us. We should not have let Two Rivers score 29 points on us, to be honest. Now, I get Poen's a little bit different. They have Colt Barrett, who's probably the best quarterback in 2A.
Sure.
So I'll give you a little bit of leniency there. But at the same time, Poen I didn't think deserved to score 40 points on us. We just went in there, thought we were going to win, and we let them score 40 on us. Then Danville. Thought we were going to take care of business against Danville at home. And then Danville goes and makes it a 1 or 2 score game. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But it was closer than it should have been. And then Friday against Cutter. I remember everyone after the Paris game was like, oh, we're just going to go take care of business against Cutter and Perryville and lock down our second seed in the state playoffs, which we'll get to in a minute.
Sure.
But then we go in there, Cutter punches us in the mouth, and we never really get back on our feet except for a moment in the third quarter where we started to try a rally. We cannot be affording to do that again. This team does not have the defense to be able to afford to just have a moment in the first half where they overlook the other team. We're going to need to step up. We're going to need to step up if we want to play to our potential, because we could have been the 2 seed in here. And now it's up to fate, which is now where we're going to lead into our next part, which we were at 2 seed if we could have beat Cutter, but we didn't. And full credit to Cutter for beating us, because they are a good team. I mean, they were able to pull off 2 deep passes in the first quarter. They had a good passing attack, combined it with good rushing attack. Now you have Manic Cove as the 3 seed, which would have you facing the 3 seed in the Region 8, which is McGee. And if a series of events happens, which involves Jesseville beating Cutter and us winning against Perryville, we could get the 2 seed yet, which would place us against Osceola in the first round at home. And I believe we'd also have first round against Dumas at home. I believe we would. And then if we lose to Perryville, then it is possible we could end up with the 4 seed, I believe. And that would place us going on the road to Dumas, which is the second team in the Region 8. Coach, this is about the worst possible situation that we could be in right now. And we're going into Perryville, who they're not necessarily a bad team. I mean, they've only lost by 5 to Paris, a team that we beat by 8. And they kept it close against Danville. They kept it close against Cutter, actually. They only lost by 8 to Cutter. And this is a team that held Glenrose to less than 50. I mean, they're not really a bad team. It's just they've not been going on the right way. So how does Manico need to have their mindset set to bounce back and take care of business against a Perryville team that they're looking to beat and secure themselves a 3 and possibly a 2 seed?
Well, Will, they have got to get back to playing fundamental football and not overlooking anyone. You cannot, as you said, you cannot overlook anyone. When you start overlooking people, I don't care what level you're playing, whether it's from Pee-wee to junior high to senior high to
college
Division
or
two,
pro.
Yeah, college or pro. When you start doing those things, then you're opening yourself up for some heartache and disappointment. So you've got to go in. You've got to prepare the same way every game. And if you go back to where we talked about, a few weeks ago on the podcast, teams at this point in time need to be playing their best football. Yeah, everyone has bumps and bruises. Several teams have players that have been injured, as we do, on both sides of the football. That's part of the game. The unfortunate part of it is that everyone is dealing with injuries. So it's how you deal with those factors, those injuries, those hardships, and how well you can adjust to that is going to determine, where you go from here. And as I said, you've got to be firing on all cylinders right now. You have to. You cannot. There's no margin of error, especially at this point in the season. You have none. You're in your last of the conference. You're playing for that conference seeding. You've got to be playing your best football, or which may look different than it did in midway through the season or early in the season, with it due to injuries. But you've got to still be playing your best football, and you cannot afford to overlook anyone, because those teams that were maybe struggling in the beginning now could be starting to get healthy and starting to play well and starting to gel together. So that's something to look at.
And now I want to know your opinion on something, because we're going to get to good news now, actually. Don't quote me on this, but we believe that Angel Velasquez will be back this week against Perryville. We will be without Colton Sultan, unfortunately, for this week. But,
right.
We're going against Perryville, a very young team who graduated a lot of the guys that they had last year. And I tend to remember that they were a more run-heavy team last year. Not that they don't throw the football, they just kind of are like us in the fact that they throw it less. So, you're looking at this, and Magnet has had success against teams that have ran the football this year. Think back to Gurdon, think back to Two Rivers relatively, and think to Paris even.
Right.
Magnet has proven that they have a good run defense. So, what are you looking out of the team? What do you think they need to do well this week to manage to secure themselves a 7-3 final record?
Well, the first thing is come prepared to go to battle. You can't come in there and think that, just because Perryville, has not had the success that they've had last year, that they're just going to walk in and hand you the ball game, because that's not going to happen. They're going to put up a fight, and they have got to realize, hey, we got to approach this game just like we do any other game. We got to be focused. We got to take care of our assignments on defense. Whether you're a defensive lineman plugging up the line, linebackers have got to be scraping, going to fill those gaps and not leave any gaps, and things like that. You got to be doing things fundamentally sound in order to have success, and that's what Magnet's going to have to do to get back to the basics. Just tackling, wrapping up, making plays, not letting anyone get behind them on defense, and then offensively just continue to pound the ball, continue to block, sustain those blocks, and be able to drive the football.
So one last question here, I suppose, is we're not going to do our games of the week for this week, but you've got a young team at Perryville. You've got a team that's going to be looking toward the future, as next year I would imagine they're going to be a pretty good team. But what would you be looking forward to see out of them if you were their coach? What would you want to see out of that team in this final week, even though they're out of the playoffs?
Well, I think as a coach, you're always looking at something to build upon. Have they continually got better each week? And are they still tuned in? In other words, are they focused? Are they trying, giving their best effort? And you just look for the small things, the little things. Like I said, going back and making the tackles, playing good, sound assignment football, being where you're supposed to be in certain formations and on certain plays. Those are the things that coaches look at and can build upon, and that can really kind of carry them into their off season and say, hey, yeah, we took our lumps this year. We were young, but the future does look bright, because it's a big difference from playing junior high football going into varsity football
and having some juniors that quite possibly never put much playing time.
Right,
Sophomores being shoved into the fire.
Right, they kind of got pushed into the situation and maybe did not have that much game experience. So absolutely, yeah, it's going to make a difference. And as they say, what they're looking for is, has their team grown up? Have they learned about themselves? From the experience. Just based on previous and experience. There's nothing like experience to help a team get better. You need that experience on the varsity level, the speed of the game. You just knowing what to expect. That makes a huge difference. But again, if I'm Perryville, I'm looking, hey, let's come in here and let's try to play spoiler to a team, and
that still has aspirations.
Right, exactly. Let's go in there and see what we can do, and hopefully we can upset them, and make their life a little bit more difficult. And then we can take that success and go into the off season and start building for next year. And that's what you got to look at as a coach, especially with a young team.
Well, Hartsell's been quite a good ride for this regular season, but we leave it all on the field this next Friday night. And hopefully, actually guaranteed, we're going to have a state playoff version of this show in the next week. So looking forward to that, but PPRD, and let's see if we can send the seniors off right on this one last senior night game.
Do you have some land you need cleared to build on? Call Hartsell Farms and Excavating. Do you need some excavation done on your property? Call Hartsell's Farms and Excavating. Hartsell's Farms and Excavating, LLC, is a veteran-owned and operated company with 20-plus years of experience in the construction business. Owner Vernon Hartsell will be happy to see how he and his crew can meet your needs. Free estimates can be given by calling number 870-210-0204. Again, that number is 870-210-0204. Thank you for your business.